Here's the truth only a few people will understand. It's only delusional until it works. Think about it for a moment. Steve Jobs started Apple in a garage. Everyone said he was delusional. You want to sell computers? That's crazy. Jack Ma started Alibaba when people said e commerce would never work in China. You're delusional. The internet won't work there. Sarah Blakely had an idea for footless pantyhose. Everyone said it was stupid. You're delusional. No one wants that. Cristiano Ronaldo was told he was too small, too weak, too slow. You're delusional if you think you'll be a professional footballer. Muhammad Ali said he was the greatest before he proved it. Everyone called him delusional. You're arrogant, you're crazy, but here's the thing they all believed. They all had a vision, they took action, and they all succeeded. It was only delusional until it worked. This is episode 33. I'm your host, and today we are talking about the power of belief before evidence, the difference between delusion and vision, and how to take action on what you believe even when everyone else calls you crazy. Let's go. Let me talk about the power of belief before evidence. Here's the thing belief comes first, evidence comes later. This is the order. Most people have it backwards. They wait for evidence before they believe. They wait to see proof before they commit. They wait to see results before they take action. But that's not how it works. That's not how anything works. Belief comes first, evidence comes later. When Steve Jobs started Apple, there was no evidence that personal computers would work. There was no evidence that people would want computers in their homes. There was no evidence that Apple would be so successful. But he believed. He had a vision of personal computers in every home. He believed it before he saw it. He believed it before there was any evidence. And he took action. He built the company. He created the products. He changed the world. The evidence came after the belief. When Jack Ma started Alibaba, there was no evidence that e commerce could work in China. There was no evidence that the internet would transform business in China. There was no evidence that Alibaba would be successful. But he believed. He had a vision of connecting Chinese businesses to the world. He believed it before he saw it. He believed it before there was any evidence. And he took action. He built the company. He created the platform. He transformed an entire economy. The evidence came after the belief. When Cristiano Ronaldo was young, there was no evidence that he would become one of the greatest athletes of all time. There was no evidence that he would overcome his limitations. There was no evidence that he would achieve greatness. But he believed. He had a vision of being the greatest. He believed it before he saw it. He believed it before there was any evidence. And then he took action. He trained relentlessly. He pushed himself beyond his limits. He became one of the greatest athletes of all time. The evidence came after the belief. This is the power of belief before evidence. Belief is the foundation, evidence is the result. Now, let me talk about the thin line between delusion and vision. Because here's the thing delusion and vision look the same from the outside. They both involve believing in something that you cannot see. They both involve conviction before evidence. They both involve taking action despite doubt. So, what's the difference? The difference is action, the difference is purpose, the difference is persistence. Delusion is belief without action, delusion is conviction without commitment, delusion is dreaming without doing. Vision is belief with action, vision is conviction with commitment, vision is dreaming with doing. Delusion is saying, I am going to be rich and doing nothing about it. Vision is saying, I'm going to be rich and building a business. Delusion is saying, I'm going to be champion and sitting on the couch. Vision is saying, I'm going to be champion and training every day. Delusion is saying, I'm going to change the world and talking about it. Vision is saying, I'm going to change the world and taking action to make it happen. The difference is action. The difference is commitment. The difference is persistence. So when people call you delusional, ask yourself, am I taking action? Am I committed? Am I persistence? If the answer is yes, then you don't have delusion, you have vision. Now, now let me talk about faith as the foundation. In Hebrews 11, verse 1, we read, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is the substance, faith is the evidence, faith is the foundation. Faith is believing in what you cannot see. Faith is conviction before confirmation. Faith is taking action despite doubt. In John 20, verse 29, Jesus says, have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Jesus blesses those who believe without seeing, those who have faith, those who have conviction before evidence. In Proverbs 29, verse 18, we read, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Vision is essential. Without vision, you perish. With vision, you prosper. In Mark 11, verse 24, Jesus says, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Believe you have received it. Act as if you already have it. This is the power of faith. In Proverbs 23, verse 7, we read, for as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Your belief shapes your reality. If you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. In 2 Corinthians 5, verse 7, Paul writes, for we live by faith, not by sight. Faith is the foundation, not sight, not evidence. Faith. In Habakkuk 2, verses 2 and 3, we read, and the Lord answered me, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. For still the vision awaits its appointed time, it hastens to the end, it will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Write your vision, make it plain, wait for it. It will come. Faith is the foundation of all achievement. Faith is believing in what you cannot see. Faith is the evidence before the evidence. Now, let me talk about taking action on what you believe. Because here's the thing, belief alone is not enough. You have to act on your belief. You have to take action. Steve Jobs didn't just believe in personal computers, he built them. He took action. Jack Ma didn't just believe in e commerce, he built Alibaba. He took action. Sarah Blakely didn't just believe in footless pantyhose, she built Spanx. She took action. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't just believe he'd be great, he trained relentlessly. He took action. Muhammad Ali didn't just say he was the greatest, he fought. He took action. Belief without action is just a dream. Belief with action is a vision that becomes reality. So here's the question: what do you believe in? What's your vision? What are you willing to take action on? Because that's the test. That's the difference between delusion and vision. That's the difference between dreamers and doers. Dreamers believe but don't act. Doers believe and act. Which one are you? Now, let me talk about handling criticism and naysayers. Because here's the thing: when you have a vision, everyone will doubt you. Everyone will call you delusional. Everyone will try to convince you that you're wrong. Steve Jobs was called delusional. Jack Ma, Sarah Blakely, Cristiano Ronaldo, Muhammad Ali, they all were called delusional. And they all succeeded anyway. Why? Because they didn't listen to the doubters. They didn't let the criticism stop them. They didn't let the naysayers convince them that they were wrong. They believed, they had a vision, they took action, and they succeeded. Here's the truth: if everyone agrees with you, you're probably not thinking big enough. If everyone believes in you, you're probably not dreaming big enough. The people who change the world are always called delusional at first. Always. So here's my question for you: are you willing to be called delusional? Are you willing to be doubted? Are you willing to be criticized? Because if you're not, you'll never achieve anything great. You'll never have a vision that matters. You'll never change the world. The price of vision is criticism. The price of greatness is doubt. The price of achievement is being called delusional. Are you willing to pay that price? The Bible is full of examples of people who believed before evidence, people who had vision before proof, people who were called crazy but succeeded anyway. Romans 4 verse 17. As it is written, I have made you a father of many nations. He is our father in the sight of God, in whom we believed, the God who gives life to the dead and calls into being things that were not. God calls things into being that were not. You can do the same thing through belief and faith. Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Trust beyond your understanding. Trust beyond what you can see. Trust in the vision. Isaiah 43 verse 19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. God does new things. He makes ways where there are none. Vision sees what others cannot. First Peter 1 verse 8. Though you have not seen him, you love him. Even though you do not see him, you believe in him and are filled with an inexpressible and glorious joy. You can love and believe in what you have not seen. This is the power of faith. Philippians 3, verse 14. I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. Vision gives you a goal to press toward, a destination to run toward. Colossians 3, verse 2. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. Vision is setting your mind on what is above, on what is unseen, on what is possible. Proverbs 16, verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. Commit your vision to the Lord, your plans will succeed. Jeremiah 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. God has plans for you. Vision is seeing those plans, believing in those plans. Here are some real world examples of people who are called delusional and succeeded anyway. I've been talking about these people. Steve Jobs started Apple in a garage. Everyone said he was delusional. He believed he had a vision of personal computers in every home. Everyone laughed. Now, Apple is a $1 trillion company. It was only delusional until it worked. Jack Ma started Alibaba when people said e commerce would never work in China. You're delusional. The internet won't work in China. No one will buy online. But he believed he had a vision of connecting Chinese businesses to the world. Now, Alibaba is a multi-billion-dollar company. It was only delusional until it worked. Sarah Blakely had an idea for footless pantyhose. Everyone said it was stupid. You're delusional, no one wants that. That's a stupid idea. She believed she had a vision of women feeling confident in their clothes. She sold Spanx for $1.2 billion. It was only delusional until it worked. Oprah Winfrey was born poor, abused, told she would never amount to anything. You're delusional if you think you'll be on TV. You're too dark, you're too poor, you'll never make it. But she believed she had a vision of helping people. Now, she's one of the most influential people in the world. It was only delusional until it worked. Richard Branson was dyslexic, told he would never be successful. Started Virgin Records in a basement. Everyone said he was crazy. You're delusional, you can't compete with big record labels. He believed he had a vision of creating an experience, not just a product. Now, Virgin is a multi-billion-dollar company. It was only delusional until it worked. Cristiano Ronaldo was told he was too small, too weak, too slow. So delusional if you believe that you will be a professional footballer. You'll never make it. But he believed. He had a vision of being the greatest. Now he's one of the greatest athletes of all time. It was only delusional until it worked. LeBron James was told he'd never win a championship, told he couldn't carry a team. But he believed. He had a vision of greatness. Now he's considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time. It was only delusional until it worked. Thomas Edison was told his idea of the light bulb was delusional. How crazy? You will never make a practical light bulb. He, but he believed he had a vision of lighting the world. Now electric light is everywhere. It was only delusional until it worked. The Wright brothers were told they were delusional. Y'all will never make a flying machine. It's impossible. You all are crazy. But they believed they had a vision of human flight. Now we fly around the world. It was only delusional until it worked. So, how to distinguish between delusion and vision? How do you know if you're being delusional or if you have a real vision? First, ask yourself, am I taking action? Delusion is belief without action. Vision is belief with action. If you're not taking action, you have delusion. If you're taking action, you have vision. Second, ask yourself, am I committed? Delusion, delusion is fleeting. Vision is permanent. If you're not committed, you have delusion. If you're committed, you have vision. Third, ask yourself, am I persistent? Delusion is abandoned when things get hard. Vision persists through difficulty. If you give up when things get hard, you have delusion. If you persist, you have vision. Fourth, ask yourself, am I learning? Delusion is static, vision evolves. If you're not learning and adapting, you have delusion. If you're learning and adapting, you have vision. Fifth, ask yourself, am I making progress? Delusion produces no results. Vision produces results. If you are not making progress, you have delusion. If you are making progress, you have vision. Sixth, ask yourself, am I willing to sacrifice? Delusion doesn't require sacrifice. Vision requires sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice, you have delusion. If you're willing to sacrifice, you have vision. So, how do you build unshakable belief? How do you develop conviction that cannot be shaken? First, connect with your why. Why do you believe in your vision? Why does it matter to you? Connect with your purpose. This will strengthen your belief. Second, study the examples. Look at people who have done what you want to do. Study their journey, learn from their path. They will strengthen your belief. Third, take small actions. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take small actions now. Build momentum. This will strengthen your belief. Fourth, find your people. Find people who believe in your vision. Find people who support you. Find a community. This will strengthen your belief. Fifth, celebrate small wins. Every time you make progress, celebrate it. Notice it, acknowledge it. This will strengthen your belief. Sixth, be patient with yourself. Building unshakable belief takes time. Be kind to yourself. Keep going. This will strengthen your belief. So, how do you take action despite doubt? How do you move forward when everyone is calling you delusional? First, remember your why. Remember why you believe in this vision. Remember why it matters to you. This will help you push through doubt. Then focus on what you can control. You can't control what others think. You can't control what others say. But you can control your actions. Focus on what you can control. Take small steps. You don't have to do something massive. Take small steps. Build momentum. This will help you push through doubt. Find accountability. Tell someone what you're doing. Ask them to hold you accountable. This will help you push through doubt. Then measure progress. Keep track of what you're doing. Notice the changes. Celebrate the wins. Progress is motivating. And most important, be willing to fail. Failure is the part of the journey. Failure is data. Failure is feedback. Be willing to fail. Here's something important. People who believe before evidence develop an invisible advantage. They develop confidence. They believe in themselves. They know they can do hard things. They develop resilience, they can handle criticism, they can bounce back from failure. They develop momentum, they keep moving forward, they keep growing. They develop the ability to see opportunities. They see what others cannot. They see possibilities when others see obstacles. They develop the ability to inspire others. Their belief is contagious. Their vision attracts people. They develop the ability to shape their lives. They are not victims of circumstance. They are creators of their future. And this invisible advantage compounds over time. Small beliefs consistently acted upon creates big results over time. This is why Steve Jobs revolutionized multiple industries. This is why Jack Ma transformed an entire economy. This is why Sarah Blakely built a billion-dollar company. This is why Cristiano became one of the greatest athletes of all time. This is why Muhammad Ali became the greatest boxer of all time. They believed evidence, all the invisible advantage compounded. Here's the truth, it's only delusional until it works. Every great achievement started with someone who was called delusional. Every great vision started with someone who was doubted. Every great success started with someone who believed before evidence. So here's my question for you. What's your vision? What do you believe in? What are you willing to be called delusional for? Because if you're not willing to be called delusional, you'll never achieve anything great. You'll never have a vision that matters. You'll never change the world. People who change the world are always called delusional at first. Always. So believe. Have a vision. Take action. Be willing to be called delusional because it's only delusional until it works. That's the truth. That's the path to greatness. This is built, not felt by the rice code. I'll see you all in the next one.